Hello everyone, we have started a podcast series. As you know, we have Naivedya as our project manager today. We'll have him today and have a good conversation with him. I'm going to ask him question about continuous improvement strategies for implementing DevOps in your organization. So we'll start with a basic introduction with Naivedya. Naivedya, please introduce to our audience.
So, hi, my name is Naivedya Chauhan, and I've been working as a project manager for the past 3 years, and I've handled projects of a huge scale and which required a lot of attention and handling from my end. So that has been my experience, and I am very fascinated by DevOps, which is why it is a topic for today.
Yeah. So to give a basic introduction to our audience, can you explain like what is DevOps and how you have gone into this industry or experience it?
So when I started as a project manager, my first project was actually a very high-scale project based on some voting advance. So in voting, you need continuous rapid development and rapid deployment, and that is where I explored the whole concept of DevOps. What DevOps does is, in a basic manner, I can say it is a merger between development and the operations team. So your coders who will code and develop a product. Operations team who will just handle product and finish the build. But the whole process of deployment and getting the build ready enough to put it out in the market is what DevOps does.
Okay. Okay. So what are the core principles of DevOps, such as automation, continuous integration, and delivery?
Okay. So for me, the core principles of DevOps would be, number one is automation, as you mentioned. So what automation does is it reduces the concept of manual error. So in legacy systems, when there was no automation, they used to have proper DevOps people who used to deploy product manually, and such manual processes can always lead to it is a human tendency to make errors. It's not a big problem, but then such errors should be avoided in a company of huge scale where these things matter a lot, and time, efficiency, and the quality of product is very important.
Yeah.
And then secondly, coming to continuous integration. Continuous integration is where if you have a merger or a whole team of developers who can contribute continuously and not have to wait for each other and not have to wait for the product to be merged and then continue the product, then that is what continuous integration is. So a main example of continuous integration where we use it is in our source control, which is the Git systems, where multiple developers are allowed to push, pull, and understand what others are coding, but also at the same time contribute without having to wait and wait for a response and not waste their time.
Yeah.
So that is what continuous integration is.
I'm sure our developers will be happy to hear that. So how can our organization identify and address the potential cultural difference or challenges that to implement the success of DevOps implementation?
Okay. So let me start with an example. So if you are working in a company where you have a lot of traction, you have a lot of people who are waiting for your company's build or waiting for you to just contribute something, but you are held back by your legacy ideas, where you are going for manual deployment or you are going for waiting for everything to be just done in a step-by-step process instead of making use of all the technology that we have.
Yeah.
Earlier, we never had all these systems. We never had automation. We never had CI/CD pipelines, no Jenkins. So back then it was useful, but now when you see it, I think we should make use of such processes so that our process is streamlined, but also we provide good quality, and in the end we can always deliver on time and keep up with the rapid progress.
Yeah,
because
sure.
in the end we're always focusing on profits.
Yeah, sure. What are the role of leadership and management which can be, DevOps can have in their processes and all that?
Okay, so that's a very good question. So if I go into leadership, if you are working with your leader, your manager, I'm working with my manager. Yeah. If my manager never pushes me to go through a new process, I may come up with it on myself, but I do not have the power to implement it.
Yeah.
So the change starts on the leadership. Yeah. When the leadership encourages such practices and when they have the vision to grow fast, I think you as not a follower, but as a part of the team, it helps you to make those decisions and be strong enough.
Yeah, sure. Leadership plays always a
It always plays a role.
Yeah. So I have told you the legacy systems have been forwarded in the organization. Has they are really such a challenge for the organization?
I think, see, if the scale depends on the scale of the product. If the scale of the product is huge, so let me take another example. So if there is a huge e-commerce company who are getting so many orders, so many requests, and they have to if you're receiving such traction, you have to improve the quality of your build. If your app is not usable enough, you may have the best product, but it will never help you.
Yeah.
So all these legacy systems cannot help your company grow to a higher level. They'll always try to hold you back. Human error, or late deployments, or incomplete deployments, or wasting the time on such every build, because as you know, we have to ship builds continuously to improve the quality of the product or add a new feature. So for that to be, a more streamlined process, I think it is very important that they, focus on using these processes.
Yeah. We'll have one more question, a
Sure.
bonus question maybe.
Yeah.
So you are also playing a leadership role. So will you share us an experience of your team and you as a leader for how successful the DevOps implementation and this principles have worked for you?
Okay. So if I as a leader have to go through this